I met my own worst nightmare in the form of an HOA president with a Tesla and a sense of entitlement. She kept plugging her car into my power without asking. Her justification? It's public energy if it's outside. In the end, the only thing she borrowed from me was my fire extinguisher when her car briefly caught fire. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Evan Cole. I'm a solar engineer. My world is built on clean lines and clear states. A circuit is open or it's closed. A system is stable or it's not. Logic is my comfort. My wife Sarah and I live in a quiet house on a quiet street. Small yard, big tree, 2-car garage. My workshop lives in half that garage. Neat, labeled drawers, coiled cables, everything in its place. Mounted on the outer wall, beside the garage door, is my pride and joy. A level 2 EV charger I installed myself. 240 volts, up to 48 amps. Roof panels feed a home battery during the day. The battery feeds the charger at night. Efficient, elegant, mine. Or so I thought. This is the story of what happens when someone decides that mine is actually ours. A line gets crossed, and a quiet, logical man decides to defend his home with the tools he understands best. Design and evidence? It starts at 2 in the morning. The alarm isn't a chime. It's a digital scream that tears through the dark. Sarah lurches upright, heart racing. I'm already out of bed, feet on cool wood. I'm not panicking. To me, an alarm is data, a signal that something has deviated from normal. My mind goes down the checklist. Not the security system, wrong tone. Not the smoke detectors, those triple beep. This is my custom energy monitor. The system I built to watch every watt from my panels, battery, and charger. Every electron that leaves my house has to tell that system where it's going. I cross to the tablet on my dresser. The screen glows an angry red. A graph fills most of it. Power consumption over time. For 4 hours, the line has been nearly flat. Baseline load, fridge, standby electronics. Then, 10 minutes ago, the graph spikes straight up. 48 amps. The maximum my charger can pull. Except my car isn't plugged in. It's in the garage, fully charged and asleep. The draw is from the exterior port. What is it, Evan? Sarah asks, voice tight. Someone's using the charger, I say. My tone is flat. Inside, something cold and hard flips on. It's not about the money, a few dollars of electricity at most. It's the trespass. Someone walked onto my property at 2 in the morning and treated my house like a public utility. I moved to the front window and tugged the curtain aside a few inches. The motion light over the driveway is on, washing the concrete in harsh white. Parked under it is a silver Tesla Model 3. I know that car. It belongs to Karen Dunn, our HOA president. My heavy-duty charging cable runs from my wall unit straight into her car. Karen stands beside it in a silk robe and slippers looking at her phone. No guilt, no hesitation. She might as well be borrowing sugar. You have got to be kidding me, I mutter. I pull on a pair of jeans and head for the door. Evan, be careful, Sarah says. You know how she is. I know exactly how she is. Karen Dunn runs the HOA like a petty monarchy. 1/4 inch too much grass height, fine. Trash can visible from the street for 11 minutes, warning letter. A rose bush is growing a foot over Tommy's property line, enhancing the neighborhood aesthetic. Rules are for other people. I step outside. The concrete is cold under my bare feet. The only sound is the soft hum of the charger dumping my stored solar into her car. She looks up as I approach. No surprise, no shame. She offers a thin, practiced smile. Evan, she says, voice smooth. Good evening. Or, I suppose, morning. Karen. I keep my voice even. What are you doing? She makes a lazy gesture toward the Tesla. Just grabbing a little top-up. Long day. Got home late. Forgot to plug in. You know how it is. No, I say. I don't. This is not a public charging station. This is my house. She lets out a small, dismissive laugh. Oh, don't be so dramatic. We're neighbors. We're a community. That's what the C in HOA stands for. She pats my charger like it's a community grill. You provided such a wonderful community feature. My jaw tightens. I didn't provide this for the community. I installed it for my car, with my power, from my solar panels. And we're all just thrilled about your green initiative, she says. Sir, be sweet. It's why I did that little feature on your home in the monthly newsletter. I remember that feature. It showed up the same day as a notice that my 12-year-old mailbox was suddenly out of aesthetic compliance. This isn't a community charger, I repeat, voice harder. It's private property. You are stealing electricity. The smile vanishes. Her expression sharpens. The neighborly mask slips, revealing the petty tyrant beneath. Stealing is an ugly word, Evan, she says coolly. I'm the president of this association. I think I understand community assets. Given the charger's location visible from the street and its benefit to the neighborhood's green image, I'd say it qualifies as a shared resource. My brain recoils. In her worldview, if something benefits the HOA's optics, it's hers. Unplug your car, I say quietly. No, she replies, folding her arms. I'm at 40%. I need at least 80 to make it to my yoga retreat in the morning. Unplug it now. She arches an eyebrow. Or what? You going to cause a disturbance? Pretty sure there's a bylaw against that. She stands there in her expensive robe, siphoning my power, daring me to act. I look at the cable, feel the concrete under my bare feet, feel the anger burning in my chest. This isn't a misunderstanding, it's a test. A declaration of ownership over something that is not hers. A conversation won't fix this. I take a slow breath, let it out, and meet her eyes. I don't yell. I don't argue. I turn and walk back into my house. I don't need to make a scene. I need to build a system she can't beat. By morning, the anger is cooled into something more precise, resolve. I go straight to my workshop. My notepad is soon filled with boxes and arrows. Lockbox, heightened breaker, RFID. Phase 1, deterrence. Phase 2, control. Phase 3, proof. Sarah appears beside me with a mug of coffee. You were quiet when you came back to bed, she says. You okay? I'm fine, I answer, taking a sip. I'm designing a solution. For Karen, she asks, glancing over the sketches. Let's call it an educational upgrade. I spend the morning on the phone and online. I know suppliers. I know what holds up outdoors and what doesn't. I'm not interested in half measures. I'm building a fortress. First layer, physical lock. I order a heavy, weatherproof steel lockbox designed to encase the charging handle and wall port completely. It will close over the connector like a small vault and secure with a combination lock I can change at will. Simple, visible, keep out in bent metal. But a lock alone won't stop Karen. She'll see it as an eyesore and a challenge. She might try to break it, or claim it violates some HOA aesthetic standard. So I add a layer she can't see. In the garage behind my solar gear is the main breaker feeding the external charger, labeled accessible, too accessible. I install a second breaker upstream, in the small, unmarked box tucked into a corner of the attic. The power to the charger now routes through that hidden switch. Flip it, and the charger becomes a dead hunk of plastic. She can pry, smash, or crowbar all she wants. She won't get a single watt. Then comes the smart layer. I order an RFID access control module, the same technology behind office keycards. I wire it into the charger's enable/disable input. From now on, the charger will stay dormant unless it receives a valid RFID signal. I program 2 tags, a small card for my wallet, and a sticker that goes on the back of Sarah's phone. To charge, we'll just tap the tag against a specific spot on the charger. A green light will blink, internal relays will click, and power will flow. Tap again to cut it off. Everyone else, including one determined HOA president, will get nothing. Wrong key, no electrons. The install takes most of the weekend. I cut every wire to length, solder and heat, shrink every connection. I mount the lockbox. It fits perfectly over the handle like a steel shell. I test the hidden breaker. Flip it off, the charger dies. Flip it on, it's ready. I enroll the RFID tags. Tap, click, green light. Tap again, click, dark. It works. A layered defense wall, moat, and gatekeeper. Sarah comes out as I'm cleaning up. She studies the reinforced charger. Is all this really necessary, she asks, when you're dealing with someone who defines community as whatever I want to take? Yes, I say. This is my house, not a public utility. She squeezes my arm. Just be careful. She's going to be furious when she sees this. I'm counting on it, I say. Let her get angry. Let her try something. Next time, she won't just meet a lock. She'll meet something smarter than she is. I feel calmer. I've taken back control with the tools I trust. Clear design and solid hardware. Now all that's left is to wait. People like Karen don't accept no. They treat it as a dare. A week passes. The new lockbox gleams in the sun, a small metal little finger on my wall. I see Karen a few times. She slows when she drives past, eyes fixed on the charger. At the mailboxes, she gives me a tight, acidic glare and says nothing. Her anger is obvious in the rigid line of her shoulders. She's planning something. She will escalate. People like her always do. My system is ready. But it's built to prevent theft, not prove attempts. If she damages the lockbox and fails, it's still my word against hers. She could claim harassment. She could try to make me the one in violation. I need a recorder, a black box. In engineering, a black box logs everything important that happens in a system. After a failure, you pull the data and reconstruct the truth. That's what I intend to build for my charger. The National Electrical Code allows monitoring equipment on circuits. I know the code. I'm certified. So I design a small weatherproof box that will sit between the main power line and the charger. Inside it, a microcontroller and sensors to measure voltage and current. Every second it will log those readings with precise timestamps to an SD memory card, a second-by-second diary of the charger's life. But it won't just record. I give it rules. Rule 1. If the current draw exceeds a set threshold without authorized RFID activation, it sends a silent alert to my phone. No blaring siren in the house, just a discreet push notification. Rule 2. If it detects anything dangerous, short circuit, erratic surges, it will cut power immediately. I add a high-speed contactor, a heavy-duty relay. On a bad event, the microcontroller trips the contactor. In milliseconds, the charger is physically disconnected from the grid. It can't boost voltage or send more power. It can only shut down and take notes. A safety system for my safety system. A circuit breaker. I energize the circuit, cut into the conduit, wire in the monitoring box, seal everything weather-tight. From the outside, it's just another small gray utility box. But I know it's a silent witness. Testing is satisfying. I try to wake the charger without the RFID card. My phone buzzes instantly. HOA ACCESS attempt. The SD log shows it by the millisecond. Then I simulate a short using test equipment. The response is immediate, a solid thunk from the monitor as the contactor drops out. Power is severed. The log reads, critical fault detected, power, disconnected, reason, overcurrent F, beautiful, logical, entirely on my property. It records only my circuit's behavior, not people. Clean, defensible, bulletproof. Sarah watches me snap the cover on. Another upgrade? The last one, I say. Think of it as a notary that lives in a box. It just records and pulls the plug if things get dangerous. You really think she's going to try something else? She asks, weary. She's as tired of the tension as I am. I know she will, I say. She's been stewing for a week. She couldn't get her free juice and she couldn't bully me into backing down. Now she's playing to win. I don't like waiting for an attack in my own home, but the engineer in me feels a grim satisfaction. I found a problem, designed a solution, implemented and tested it. Now the system is live. All it needs is input. It comes a few nights later. It's just after midnight. A thin crescent moon gives almost no light. Sarah has gone to bed. I'm in the living room with a book. My phone vibrates once on the table. HOA ACCESS attempt. I'm moving before my conscious mind catches up. I slip to the same front window as before and peer through the blinds. The motion light floods the driveway. Karen stands there again. No robe this time, dark clothes, hair pulled back. She looks like a cartoon cat burglar. More important is what she's holding, not my cable. That's locked away. She's brought her own hardware, A flimsy third-party adapter, standard household plug on one end, Tesla connector on the other. No certification markings I can see. Thin cable, no obvious safety interlocks. My stomach knots. I know exactly what she's trying. There's a standard 120-volt outlet on the front of my house for holiday lights. It's not part of the EV charger circuit, not behind the lock, not monitored by the black box. She thinks she's found a loophole. Slow trickle charge or not, if she gets it working, she'll feel like she beat me. Those knockoff adapters are notorious. Underrated wires, no thermal protection, no ground fault detection. And a Tesla is not a dumb device. Under normal conditions, the car and charger perform a digital handshake, negotiating voltage and current. This adapter can't do that. It's just a wire trying to fake being a system. It's an accident waiting to happen. My black box doesn't cover that outlet, but the two discrete security cameras under my eaves do. They record constantly and push clips to the cloud. I watch as she fumbles with the adapter at her charge port. It doesn't seat smoothly. She wiggles it, forces it, grinding plastic against metal until it finally locks. She shoots the lockbox over my real charger, a spiteful look, and gives it a little kick, petty vandalism, and turns back to her setup. She's muttering, movements sharp and angry. I should go out there. A responsible person would, but she is on my property, at night with unsafe gear, deliberately bypassing every protection I installed. I have secured my equipment. I've followed the law and best practice. She is choosing to ignore both. Consequences exist for a reason. She smashes the wall plug into my 120-volt outlet. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. She smiles, a smug, victorious curve of her lips. In her mind, she's won. Out-engineered the engineer. She turns to walk away. She has no idea what she's just set in motion. I find myself holding my breath, eyes locked on the connection at her car. The first sign is sound, a sharp, ugly sizzle like bacon on a too-hot pan, but angrier. Then the light. A blinding blue-white flash erupts from the adapter car interface, a raw electrical arc. Uncontrolled current jumping a gap it should never cross. It's as bright as a welder's torch and lasts a fraction of a second. Immediately after comes a loud pop, like a firecracker. Thick, acrid black smoke gushes from the connector. Even through the closed window I can smell burning plastic and fried electronics. Karen screams and stumbles backward, hands over her mouth. On the camera feed later, the arc bloom looks like the entire front of the car catches fire. In reality, what appears next is a small but very real flame, no bigger than a candle at first, licking along the seam near the charge port. It feeds on melting plastic and wire insulation and starts to grow. Training takes over. The anger evaporates. All that's left is crisp focus. This is an electrical fire, no water, no hesitation. I sprint to the garage and grab the fire extinguisher mounted by the door. It's Class C rated for electrical fires, heavy and familiar in my hands. I pull the pin and hit the driveway at a run. Karen just stands there, frozen, pointing at her car and making a high-pitched keening sound. The flame is bigger now, chewing at the paint around the charge port. Black smoke plumes. "Back up," I shout, sharp and commanding. It cuts through the fog in her brain. She scrambles backward, trips, and goes down hard. I don't look. I don't have time. I approach the car from the side, aim the nozzle at the base of the flames, and squeeze the handle. A blast of fine white powder erupts with a hiss. I sweep the stream side to side over the burning area. The fire dies instantly. I give it a second blast for certainty. The smoke shifts from black to white and thins away. Silence falls, punctuated only by the fading ring in my ears. The side of her silver Tesla is now dusted in extinguisher powder. Around the charge port, the paint is scorched. The cheap adapter is a black, melted lump fused grotesquely to the car. Thousands of dollars of damage, self-inflicted in an attempt to steal maybe a couple bucks of electricity. If I had been watching, if I hadn't had the right extinguisher, she might have lost the whole car. A runaway lithium-ion battery fire is not something you put out with a garden hose. It's a neighborhood event. I lower the extinguisher and look at Karen. She's on the ground, staring at the mess with a mask of horror. For a moment, I expect shame, gratitude even. I see neither. Her expression shifts. Horror calcifies into cold fury. Her eyes narrow, and in that instant, I know exactly what she's thinking, not "I nearly set my car on fire." She's looking for someone to blame. "You!" she shrieks, voice shrill and cutting. "You did this! You sabotaged my car!" I blink. I just put out her fire and she's accusing me. "Karen, are you out of your mind?" I say, voice low. "You used a cheap, illegal adapter. It shorted. I just kept your car from becoming a bonfire." "Lies!" she screams, jabbing a shaking finger at me. "Your charger, your devices. This was a trap." Her gaze flits wildly around the driveway looking for an angle. Her eyes land on the small gray monitoring box next to my main charger. A tiny red LED blinks on its face, the indicator that a fault was logged, that there's data on the SD card inside. Evidence. She lunges for it. I react too slowly. The plastic latch on the box wasn't built for this kind of assault. In seconds, she's wrenched it open and spotted the SD card in its slot. She knows exactly what it is, the black box from the crash. Without hesitation, she rips it out. "Hey!" I shout, stepping toward her. "That's mine!" She clutches the tiny rectangle in her fist, eyes blazing. "No," she hisses. "This is evidence. Evidence of your criminal negligence." Then she bolts. She sprints off across my lawn, into the darkness between our houses. For a beat, I just stand there stunned. She tried to steal my power, nearly set her car on fire, blamed me, and now she's stolen the one device that can prove my system worked exactly as intended. The cold anger roars back, hotter than before. This isn't about electricity anymore. It's an attack on my name, my livelihood, my life. I drop the extinguisher. It clangs on the concrete. I run after her. I'm not thinking in words. The reptile part of my brain is driving. Retrieve the evidence. Protect yourself. She has a head start, but I'm faster. I vault a low hedge into the neighbor's yard. I can hear her crashing through bushes ahead, far from stealthy. "What's going on?" a voice calls. Tommy, my neighbor. His porch light snaps on, flooding part of the yard. "She's trying to frame me," I shout. As I chase, no time to explain. I'm closing the gap. She's not athletic. She stumbles through a rose bush and yelps. She's gasping, panic eating up her stamina. I'm only a few strides behind. "Give me the card, Karen," I yell, breath ragged. "Stay away from me," she screams back. "You assaulted me. Everyone's going to hear about this." She's already drafting her victim's story out loud. We cut across another lawn and run straight into headlights. A car pulls to the curb at the end of the street. Red and blue lights flare to life, painting houses in strobing color. A sheriff's deputy. Tommy will later tell me he made the call when he saw us tearing through yards. Karen spots the cruiser and shifts modes instantly. She stops running, throws her hands up, and cranks the waterworks to full. "Help," she wails. "Officer, thank God this man, he attacked me. He tried to burn my car." I skid to a stop a few yards away, chest heaving. I raise my hands too, palms open. I want nothing that can be construed as aggressive. The deputy steps out, hand resting casually on his holster, eyes flicking between sobbing woman and shirtless man in jeans. "All right," he says evenly. "What's going on here?" "He's crazy," Karen sobs, pointing at me. "I plugged my car in, and he had some kind of device on it. It blew up. Then he chased me. He was going to hurt me." The deputy's gaze shifts to me. I force my breathing slower. I need to be the calm one, the logical one. "Officer," I say, steady. "My name is Evan Cole. I live right there." I point toward my house. "That's Karen Dunn, the HOA president. For the last week she's been trying to use my private charger without permission. Tonight she used an unsafe, unauthorized adapter on a different outlet. It failed and caused a small fire on her car. I extinguished it." "He's lying," Karen shrieks. "He's just trying to cover his tracks." "Ma'am, let him finish," the deputy says, holding up a hand. I go on. "I installed a monitoring device on my circuit that logs charger activity to an SD card. When the fire happened, she saw the device, opened it, and took the card. I was trying to retrieve my property. The evidence that proves what really happened." I look directly at her. She has it in her hand right now. Karen sobs hitch. She glances down reflexively at her closed fist. The deputy notices. He steps closer. "Ma'am, what's in your hand?" "Nothing," she says too quickly, trying to shove it into her pocket. "It's my personal property." "Ma'am," the deputy says. "Patience gone. I need you to open your hand." She hesitates, trapped between lies and the uniform. Tommy is watching from his porch. I'm standing within earshot. There's nowhere for the story to go. "Now," the deputy adds. Slowly, she uncurls her fingers. A tiny black SD card sits on her palm. The deputy looks at it, then at me, then at her. Understanding clicks into place. This is not his first ride through this particular circus. "I'm going to need to take that," he says. He plucks the card carefully, drops it into an evidence bag, seals it. "You say this has a recording of the incident?" he asks me. "It has data logs," I confirm. "Voltage, amperage, and fault records from earlier tonight up until the point she switched to the other outlet. It will show she repeatedly tried to activate my main charger without authorization. The fire itself was on a separate circuit, but the card proves her intent to tamper with my system." He nods. "Then, we need to go back and see the scene." We walk back to my driveway. The deputy takes it in, extinguisher on the ground, white powder coating the Tesla, the blackened blob of melted adapter. He shines his flashlight on it. "This the adapter you mentioned?" "Yes, sir," I say. "Cheap third-party hardware. They're known to be unsafe." He crouches, careful not to disturb anything. Then he looks up at my charger, the lockbox, the open monitor housing stripped of its SD card. The physical scene lines up exactly with my account. "Anyone else see or hear anything?" he asks. "I did," Tommy calls from his yard. "Not the fire, but I saw her running and Evan chasing after her. She definitely had something clutched in her hand." Across the street, another door opens. Mrs. Gable leans out. "Officer," she says, "I've got a security camera on my porch. Records all night. It might have caught something." A slow, quiet satisfaction spreads through me. The narrative is no longer hers. Karen gasped softly. She thought it was just her word versus mine. She forgot what kind of century we live in. Cameras in doorbells, cameras on porches, cameras under eaves. The truth is about to get multiple angles. The deputy takes our statements and leaves with the SD card, promising a full investigation. I don't wait idly. The next morning I knock on doors. Tommy, Mrs. Gable. The Miller is down the street. I ask for copies of their camera footage around midnight. People are eager, almost relieved to help. Turns out I'm not the only one with Karen's stories. Tommy tells me about the fines over his son's basketball hoop in the driveway. Mrs. Gable repeats with gusto the phrase auditory pollution from the letter Karen sent about her wind chimes. They hand me video clips like they're passing around ammunition. Back home, I load everything onto my computer and start building a timeline. The footage is damning. From Mrs. Gable's porch cam, I get a crisp, wide-angle view of my entire driveway. I scrub to just after midnight. There's Karen, creeping up with her adapter. She kicks my lockbox. She jams the adapter into her port. The camera catches the blue-white arc, the puff of smoke, the flames, her panic. The video has no audio, but it doesn't need it. Tommy's doorbell cam has audio but points more toward the yard. It catches the aftermath, my voice calling out, her accusing me. "You set my car on fire." Clear as day. It records her ripping open my monitor box, stealing the SD card, then us running past his house, me shouting for her to give it back. I sync all the clips into a 2-minute, multi-angle montage. For sneaking in, the illegal hookup, the arc, the fire, the accusation, the theft, the chase. Intent, action, and lie, all documented. While I work, Sarah is on the phone with a friend who's a paralegal. She checks every angle. My cameras are on my property, aimed at my property legal. My monitoring box records only my electrical system, also legal. Karen, on the other hand, trespassed, tried to steal utilities, damaged property, filed a false report, and stole my SD card. When I'm done editing, I have a tight, silent hammer of a video. It tells the whole story clearly without me uttering a word. The phone rings. It's the deputy. "Mr. Ball, Cole," he says. "A couple of updates for you. We had the fire marshal's office out this morning. They did a preliminary assessment." "And?" I ask. "And it's exactly as you described," he replies. They found clear evidence of catastrophic failure in the third-party adapter. Direct short circuit. Their report explicitly states your home wiring and primary charger were not at fault. I exhale slowly. That's good to hear. There's more, he adds. We pulled the data from your SD card. It matches your statement. Clean, stable system all night. Then multiple unauthorized activation attempts on the main charger, all blocked by your RFID security. Then nothing. No anomalies on that circuit at the time of the fire. Because, as you said, she was drawing power from a different outlet. The card still shows clear attempts to tamper with your setup. What happens now, I ask, with the fire marshal's report, the monitoring data, and the additional footage we're collecting from neighbors? Miss Dunn is facing some serious questions, he says. We'll be in touch. I hang up. For the first time since the alarm woke me that night, the knot in my chest loosens. The logic is held. My system did what it was built to do, and the larger system, the one with badges and reports, is aligning with reality. Karen tried to manufacture her own version of events by screaming louder and seizing evidence, but reality, especially when logged to gigabytes of video and sensor data, is stubborn. In 3 days, there's an HOA meeting. Karen is still president, officially. For now, that's where this needs to end. The call from the local news comes sooner than I expect. A reporter named Jessica Wu from a segment called On Your Side. Someone my money's on Tommy tipped them. They saw the police report, HOA president, EV fire, accusations of sabotage. It's the kind of story that draws eyes. At first, I hesitate. I don't want to turn my life into a media spectacle. I just want my home back. Then, I think about the neighbors, about the letters and fines and arbitrary rules, about her nearly setting a car on fire and then trying to pin it on me. She tried to use public shame as a weapon. Maybe public truth is the right counter. All right, I tell Jessica on the phone. I'll talk. But we do it my way. You get everything: permits, logs, video. No shortcuts, just facts. That's exactly what we want, Mr. Cole, she says. The full story. The next day, a news van parks outside. Jessica is sharp, direct, and most importantly willing to walk through the details. We start in my garage. I show her the plans and permits for my solar system, all stamped and approved by the city. I walk her through the equipment, the wiring, the paths of power. The camera lingers on labels and breaker ratings. So all of this is up to code? She asks on camera. Professionally installed? To the letter, I say. I'm an engineer. I don't do shortcuts. Outside, I show her the charger, now armored in a steel lockbox. I explain exactly why it's there, how Karen first used it without permission. I take her into the attic and show her the hidden breaker. I demonstrate the RFID, tap my card, green light on, tap again, power off. So you built a multi-layer security system specifically to stop her from stealing your power, she summarizes. I built it to protect my private property, I clarify. It's defensive, not offensive. Then I show her the gray monitor box. I explain its purpose, how it logs voltage and current and can cut power in a fault. I hand her a printed copy of the fire marshal's preliminary report. She reads it, eyebrows climbing. This says, quote, catastrophic failure of non-certified third-party EV adapter. No fault found in homeowner's wiring or UBSC. So the official investigation backs you up. The fire started in her hardware, not your system. Correct, I say. Finally, we go inside. I sit her at my computer. Now, I tell her, I'll show you what happened. I hit play on the 2-minute composite. She watches in silence as Karen sneaks onto my driveway, hauls out the adapter, struggles with it, kicks my lockbox, forces the connection, and triggers the arc. She watches the flare, the smoke, Karen's panic. Then she hears Karen's accusations on Tommy's audio, sees her rip my monitor box open, steal the SD card, and sprint away with me in pursuit. When it ends, the room is quiet. Wow, Jessica says finally. That's very clear. The truth tends to be, I say. They get more B-roll. Shots of the scorched area on Karen's Tesla still parked in her driveway. They go to her door for comment. She slams it in their faces. The segment airs on the 6 o'clock news. It's precise and merciless. They show my permits, my gear, the fire marshal's report, then the edited video. No drama, no shouting. Just quiet, relentless fact. The narrative that emerges is simple. A meticulous homeowner built a safe, code-compliant system. An overreaching HOA president abused her position, trespassed, used unsafe equipment, caused a fire, tried to blame him, and then stole evidence. My phone starts ringing during the credits. Neighbors. We saw it, Evan. About time somebody stood up to her. We've got your back. If you need anything, say the word. On our little street, the tide has turned into a flood. Sarah watches the broadcast with me, her fingers laced tight in mine. You did it, she says quietly. You told the truth. I just presented the data, I say. But I feel lighter. The weight of her accusation has shifted from my shoulders to hers. There's one thing left. The HOA meeting. Karen still occupies the chair at the head of that table. Technically, for another day. I'm not going in alone. I'm bringing the 2-minute video and a projector. The community clubhouse is usually half empty for these things. 10 people, tops, folding chairs, fluorescent lights, stale coffee. Tonight, it's standing room only. Every chair is filled. People line the walls. The news report did more than clear my name. It woke everyone up. Sarah and Tommy walk in with me. I carry a laptop and a compact projector under one arm. Karen is at the head of the long table with 4 other board members. She looks drawn and colorless. She avoids eye contact with everyone. The other board members look like they'd rather be anywhere else. They know the blow-up has landed squarely in their laps. Karen runs through the formalities like she's late for a train. Pledge, minutes, old business. Her voice is flat and shaky. She's trying to ride out the meeting before anyone can speak. When she reaches new business, she moves to skip it. There is no new business, she says quickly. So if there's no further discussion, a motion to adjourn. I have new business, I say. Every head swivels. You're not on the agenda, Evan, she snaps, voice strained. I'm putting myself on the agenda, I answer, calm. I'm a dues-paying homeowner, and I have a presentation for the board and the community. One of the board members, George, clears his throat. Karen, I think we need to hear him. The others nod. They've all seen the news. They're not going to try to shut this down in front of a packed room and cameras on half the porches in the subdivision. Karen slumps back in her chair. Fine, she mutters. 5 minutes. I'll only need 2, I say. I set the projector on a side table, aim it at the blank wall behind the board, hook up the laptop, and click play. The room goes still. They watch her stealthy approach. The illegal adapter, the struggle, the kick to my lockbox, the arc, the flare, the smoke. They hear her shout, "You set my car on fire." They see her rip the monitor box open, steal the SD card, and run. They see me following. Gasps ripple through the room at the flash of electricity. Angry murmurs follow. I watch the board. Their faces go from neutral to grim. I glance at Karen. She's staring at the table, eyes glassy, jaw clenched. She's being forced to confront her own actions in 20-foot projection. When the clip ends, I shut off the projector. Silence hangs heavy. This isn't about a few dollars of electricity, I say into that silence. My voice is quiet, but it carries. This is about abuse of power. I turn to face the room, the person leading our association, who controls our dues, enforces our rules, was caught trespassing, stealing utilities, and then trying to frame a neighbor to hide her own actions. She created a dangerous situation that could have destroyed a car or worse. She lied to the police. She lied to all of you. I face the board. That is unacceptable. It's a liability and it's a disgrace. I'm formally calling for a vote of no confidence and for the immediate removal of Karen Dunn as president of this HOA. Tommy stands. I second that motion. George looks at Karen. Do you have anything to say in your defense? She lifts her head. Her eyes are full of rage and something close to panic. Her mouth opens, then closes again. There is nothing she can say that the video hasn't already contradicted. She shakes her head once. George turns back to the room. All in favor of the motion to remove Karen Dunn from the HOA board. Effective immediately. Hands go up. All around. A forest of them. Every homeowner in the room, save one. The 4 other board members raise their hands as well. The motion passes, George says. He looks at Karen. You're removed. Just like that, it's official. The crown is gone. I'm not finished. One more thing, I say. I hold up a printed invoice from an electrician and a supply shop. Replacement for my damaged exterior outlet. New fire extinguisher. Inspection fee. Her negligence damaged my equipment, and I had to replace my extinguisher, I say. I expect reimbursement. George takes the invoice, scans it, and nods. Reasonable. The board will arrange for the HOA to compensate you. I raise a second document. There's an embossed seal at the bottom. This, I say, is a temporary restraining order, signed this morning. Karen Dunn is barred from contacting my wife or me, and must remain at least 100 yards from our home. A ripple of whispers runs through the crowd. That's the legal lid on the situation. Karen pushes her chair back abruptly. For the first time in as long as I've known her, she looks small, powerless. She glares at me. One last, impotent shot, then turns and walks out without a word. The door closes behind her. The room erupts. Applause, low cheers, a release of long-stored pressure. People come up to shake my hand, clap my shoulder, thank me. I turn to Sarah. Her eyes are wet, her smile relieved. I put an arm around her. The alarms are silent. The charger sits locked and quiet on my wall. The neighborhood hums with a different kind of energy. The fight is over. Peace is restored.